Hello and welcome to the Daily Collegian's Indiana Penn State game preview. My name is John Stuetz. I'm here joined by John McGonigal, Anna Orso, and Stephen Petrella. And we are down here. Welcome back to the Daily Collegian Burroughs Street office. If Penn State is taking on Indiana this week, coming out of Penn State's first of two bye weeks, Penn State's 3-1 taking on Indiana 2-2 in Bloomington. And first off, we are extremely looking forward to the 9-hour trip going down I-70. First off, we're just going to go around and talk about our favorite part about road trips in general. Steven, if you like.
You know, every school has its kind of idiosyncrasies and it's something unique about it. And Indiana has these sweet warm-up basketball pants that look like candy canes. And the last time we were there, back in 2011, really wanted a pair of these, but they're like $75, so I passed. But I always like seeing kind of the little things that each town has to offer, and everything's different. You know, Penn State's not the same as anywhere else, and neither is Indiana, so it's kind of cool to see what each school has to offer.
Hannah?
My favorite part about road trips and really just hotels in general is continental breakfast. I'm a big fan of pastries, big fan of those little miniature cereal boxes. I just think they're so cute.
Absolutely, excellent. For me, I'd say my favorite part is just taking the scenic route to these places. I know that I-70 actually increases to 70 miles an hour speed limit, so I'm looking forward to that. Although no government, there is still a speed limit, I think. So looking forward to a little bit of a change of pace this weekend. Johnny?
Yeah, outside of the monotonous drive, I'm looking forward to seeing like Indiana's campus and stuff, and just seeing, kind of going off what Petrella said, just like little things they have there, just like campus, stadium, a little bit.
Absolutely. We're all looking forward to it, and Penn State should be looking forward to an Indiana rush defense, which has definitely had its fair share of gaping holes so far this season. Although Indiana's 2-2, the big reason for those losses has tended to be that run defense. I know you got a chance to look at that this week.
Right, yeah. So against Navy, I mean, Indiana gave up 444 yards. Against Missouri, 280 yards all on the ground. So, I mean, they're appearing last in the Big Ten in terms of their rush defense. So if Penn State's smart, they're going to capitalize on that, and I think that they will. We've seen some really talented running backs. This week we did an evaluation of kind of all of the positions for the Nittany Lions. And the running backs were the only guys that we gave an A. It's anchored by big bruising back Zach Swinak, who obviously had the 1,000-yard season last season. We're still seeing success from him and kind of pushing through and being able to get extra yardage even after he's hit. You also have Bill Belton. He's the speedy guy. He's good at finding holes and kind of making those explosive plays. And we're also seeing a lot from redshirt freshman Akil Lynch, who's kind of a sort of hybrid of the other two guys. So, you know, I really think that Penn State's going to see a lot of success on the ground this weekend.
Absolutely, and just the tempo overall, we're expecting a much quicker paced game than Penn State has seen, except for maybe the UCF game. And Coach O'Brien actually talked a lot about that tempo at his press conference on Tuesday, and that's something he's going to need to keep a really good gauge on, because Penn State is a team that's been running that NASCAR offense throughout this year. But you know, when you're facing a team like Indiana, which runs even more plays per game, 76 plays per game, Indiana does, and is really running that fast-paced, no-huddle offense throughout the given game with Kevin Wilson as their head coach, it's something he's going to need to keep an eye on, but it would definitely keep defenses on their toes throughout the game, I believe. And for Johnny, you got a chance to look at just some of the individual positions that Penn State could have, really see a big game heading into Indiana as well. And what was the main consensus you came to?
Yeah, basically the tight ends. I mean, Anna mentioned it, that their rush defense, Indiana's rush defense is pretty poor. And while that's great for, you know, the running backs for Swinak and company, you know, another group that could really capitalize that on is the tight ends, particularly in the play-action passing game. You know, if a defense is getting gashed by guys like Swinak and Belton and Lynch, you know, consistently, they're going to put more guys in the box, and that kind of opens things up for the tight ends to, you know, hit out in the flat, intermediate play-action passing game. And we haven't seen as much from, you know, Kyle Carter and Jesse James as we did last year. You know, they haven't had a touchdown yet. They combined, the tight ends have one catch in the red zone this year. So I mean, just, you know, look for a lot more production out of those guys against Indiana, and look for Christian Hackenberg to look to as big tight ends.
Absolutely. Matt Lehman last year had 3 touchdowns himself in the red zone.
Yeah.
So for that position takeoff could be huge for him as well.
Definitely.
And Steven, obviously Indiana has improved overall as a program under Kevin Wilson, and they seem to be a program that's on the rise, but not necessarily becoming that football program that we've seen here for so long.
Right. I mean, Indiana's a basketball school, just as Penn State is a football school. It will probably always be a basketball school, no matter how good the football program gets. It's a noon kick. We were there 2 years ago. The student section was about half full by kick. A lot of people tailgating, not a lot of people in the game. So Wilson's done a lot of good things with this program. I think he's got them headed in the right direction, but still, the atmosphere is just not anything like it is at Penn State for a home football weekend. I mean, here all the restaurants are packed, the lines for the bars are out the door. Indiana, when we were there, we were kind of surprised that they didn't pack the town. It's just not in their culture. They're obviously more of a basketball school. But if you're a Penn State fan and you follow the Big Ten, you know that Indiana's offense can do some things. And if Penn State falls asleep, this isn't a game to look past.
Absolutely, Indiana has. And with that, we will go ahead and give our predictions for the week. Steven, if you'd like to start us off.
All right, I think Penn State's going to go to Bloomington, take care of business 38-28. I think they'll be able to control the tempo a little bit like Navy did and a little bit like Missouri did. And they should be able to keep Indiana's offense off the field long enough to win by 10 and come back home waiting for Michigan.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a high-scoring shootout. I'm still not sure how Penn State's defense is going to respond to this quick release and this high-tempoed offense. But I still think Penn State's going to come out with a win. I have Penn State winning 41-35.
All right, excellent. I have Penn State coming out with a little bit more breathing room in Bloomington. I have Penn State winning 41-24. I think coming off the bye week, the preparations that they've made and the amount of rest and the amount of health they were able to gain with Mike Holt coming back this week, I believe that Penn State will be able to come out on top against an Indiana team that really hasn't proven much against any top-name team so far this year.
Yeah, for me, I have Penn State 41-28. I agree with you what you said defensively. I think Penn State has a better showing defensively than they did against UCF. Offensively, I'm interested to see what they do in the red zone. Last week, Zwinak had 3 touchdowns within 3 yards or whatever it was. And so if Indiana's watching the film, they're seeing that. So they'll probably stack the box. And I'm just interested to see what the tight ends and other passing options do in the red zone against Indiana. So look for that on Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, that'll do it for us here, the Daily Collegian Football crew. Over and out from the Daily Collegian office here. Penn State takes on Indiana Saturday at noon. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at PSU Footblog to follow along this weekend. And for everyone making the trip, be sure to travel safely as well.